What's going on, guys? Welcome to the podcast this week. Welcome to Hello, How Are You Today? This week I have two amazing guests, Emily Tuff and George Mitri. They are a couple. They are cosplayers and they are animators. More specifically, they are animators on one of my favorite TV shows, Final Space. So stay tuned and let's get to the conversation with Emily and George. All right, I'm here with Emily Tuff and George Mitri. Emily is a longtime, friend. Our parents are friends and everything. George, you are her new fiance and everything. So congratulations to you both. I heard that was quite the proposal that Emily had no idea what was happening. So kind of give me a backstory, like what happened? How did the proposal happen?
Oh, okay. Well, since the pandemic started, we've just been living with each other for the first time. And plenty of months have gone by. But beforehand, we dated for 2 years before that, and we've known each other for around 7 years before that too. So we've been friends for a long time. Then we dated for 2 years, and then we started living together. As soon as the pandemic hit.
2 months before the pandemic.
Maybe about 2 months. Yeah, 2 months before it. And it was kind of just reviewing my experience with just how things have been with us together, and the thought process that came up was, hey, I'm just really sure about this person, and I wanted to think of something special. And
the photograph is fantastic because the shock in Emily's face is amazing.
The photograph was done by my brother, Jason Mitri.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So did you guys met through animation school, or how did you guys actually meet? Because you've been friends for 7 years. Did you guys meet through animation school or through cosplaying? Because I know that's the thing you guys do. How was it like, hey, I like your dragon outfit, or I like your anime, and that's how you guys became friends? Or?
That sounds way more romantic. No, we were in the same year one class of animation, and I honestly didn't. I'm bad at learning people's names, so I didn't know your name until 3 months in.
Oh, that's fair. That's I'm also terrible with names.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just oh, what's your Facebook and how do you spell your name? As if I already know it, but
I just remember going to the Christmas party, first year animation, and it was our first party together as a class.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas, and you brought a duffel bag of activities to this party. You brought 3 seasons of television. I don't know what you thought was going to happen at the party, but I saw that duffel bag and I was like, oh, I want to be friends with him.
Aww.
3 seasons of a TV show? What TV show was it?
I think it was Invader Zim.
Yeah, it was Invader Zim.
And it was Invader Zim, and I brought in some Wii games because our friend over at her place had a Wii, so I brought in Smash Brothers.
But it was a stack.
Yeah. I wanted to bring some little activities, It was the first time, so I wanted to make an impression with everyone.
So, you Invader Zim. Did you get a chance to watch the remake or the the newer season?
Oh, it's
the movie.
Yeah, it was the movie. It was actually
only seen the movie.
Yeah, it was her introduction to Invader Zim. I've gotten into it ever since. I've watched an episode back when it was airing on Nick, but I got more into it in between 2010 and 2011. That was when it was starting to get popular again. It was starting to trend, and I got this one set that had a couple of episodes, best of episodes. Watched all of it and was obsessed. And then I also shared it to Jay, my brother, and he was also obsessed right after that.
So talking about Invader Zim, talking about animation, which school did you guys go to, and why did you choose that animation school?
Oh, we went to Seneca. It's a college the campus we were on was the campus that is shared with York University. So, but there's other campuses that aren't with York University. And did you apply to Sheridan, or you never?
No, I did. I applied to Sheridan for art fundamentals.
Yeah, I went there for art fundamentals. It was okay.
Yeah, yeah, but I also and I also got accepted to our fundamentals there, but then I also got accepted to our fundamentals at Seneca. The difference between the two schools is that Seneca was just a 15-minute drive away, where Sheridan was out of town.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a lot more convenient just for me to like just head there. So that's why I started doing our fundamentals for a year and would later sign up for animation.
Okay. And so, Emily, you were taught by my uncle, right?
Yeah.
Rob? And
We were both
George.
Yeah.
So what?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
What can you tell me about my uncle's teaching methods? Yay or nay?
Amazing.
Fantastic. The theatrics were glorious.
He taught with a clip from a Goofy movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think I audibly like squealed in the class where he just pulled out a Goofy movie. He's like, "We're going to talk about acting today." I'm like,
That's like the reaction I had when one of my English teachers in college brought out a wrestling match for us to study in terms of storyline and everything. I was like, oh my god, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, this is the best class ever. So you guys, what made you want to get into animation? I mean, like, what were some of your favorite shows growing up? And what have you learned from not only like being animators, but studying other animations and stuff like that?
you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Ours are a little different, so.
Yeah. So like, so you said like for the question, just like our history with animation and like kind of what our inspirations were, right?
And what drove you to it?
What drove us? Oh yeah.
Because you weren't sure for a bit.
Yeah, you're right. So after I finished art fundies, I wasn't sure whether to choose between. We had two choices: animation class or illustration class. And for a long time since elementary school, I was thinking of like, oh man, I'd like to do comic books someday, like to draw for like comics, and I think like I thought to myself maybe doing illustration would lead me to that. And I've also like, but I talked with a lot of people and they said, oh, maybe try animation. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll give it a shot. So I just went for it, but thinking to myself, man, can I really draw 1,000 pages just to make like 2 seconds of movement?
Luckily, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah. But like we had to practice with that. We had to actually do traditional.
Yeah, for the first 2 years.
Yes.
And so kind of give us an idea of what is traditional animation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. So traditional animation is just hand drawn on paper, and you kind of have to flip between a couple of pages when you're doing key poses. Now, key poses is when you have to have one pose here and another pose here. So those two are like key poses, like two
But
different.
then you got it in between.
Yeah.
And the way you in between changes the movement.
Yeah. So the in between is basically like all the. So the in between would basically be like the movement just in between the two keys, and those will be filled out by the rest of the pages that you draw. So that's basically traditional hand-drawn animation.
Sorry, I got this is an animation. It's a real cat. If you're watching,
No,
no filters.
No worries. Yeah. So now with digital animation, like we had to learn that before we did digital. So basically, we work with rigs, and with rigs, it's like you're working with a 2D like doll or a 2D puppet. So you kind of just move the arms and the legs and head, eyes, even like the facial structures. You basically just have you basically control almost everything on it. With like
the good rigs.
the good rigs. You'd have like some really good stuff to work with, and you can make the character do just like a lot of things. So everything's just left up to the imagination. So it saves time on just drawing. You can still draw. You can still draw and add new stuff on it.
Yeah, usually you have to draw hands.
Yeah, sometimes hands would be a thing you can draw.
And new mouths.
Yeah, new mouths. Or just like some effects like a sphere where the thing is just going like this.
Like super fast.
Super fast, yeah. So you can have fun with it. But yeah, it has its advantages when it gets to digital.
Okay, and so like that sounds kind of similar to like when I went to college for television and film. Like we did the basics essentially by learning how to work. Well, I don't think they do it anymore, but we had to load film cameras up and try and work with them. But those are completely obsolete now, as far as I'm aware. Sort of thing, unless you're a Tarantino and can afford to work on film sort of thing, which I don't think anyone else can do. So now you're working with 2D animation. So I want to talk to you guys about I don't know if you've seen the show Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I have.
We haven't seen the new season yet, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring that up is because it's such a unique show in the sense that it has so many different forms of animation in a season sort of thing. So when you guys watch something like that, does that spark your creativity in terms of creating animation?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. It's anything with a lot of new, fresh ideas that just keeps popping up, especially with Love, Death, and Robots, which is every episode's a new idea. Yeah, that sparks a lot of inspiration.
Oh yeah, I like seeing different genres depicted in animation because we kind of in Canada a lot of our shows are preschool shows, so you kind of get the same genre all the time.
Yeah.
So whenever we see animation tackled in a new genre, I don't know, slice of life or
slice of life,
horror,
sci-fi, action. Yeah,
it gets us really excited. We're like, oh, we could work on that. We could try different things.
and nowadays things have been kind of leaning towards now things have been more spread out. Not only can we have stuff for almost every age category, but now we can finally do different genres in animation. So things are starting to get there. So that's going to be exciting to look forward to.
And now, speaking of genres, you guys actually work on one of my favorite TV shows, which is Final Space, which is sci-fi mixed with drama, mixed with comedy, mixed with sorrow and all these sorts of things.
A very good example of what gets us excited about animation or the future of animation.
Absolutely. That was a good example.
Now, so I'm waiting till that comes out on Netflix because it's one of those things I like to binge watch. But I've seen clips of this past season, and it looks like it's a really heavy season in terms of loss and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
When you guys have to animate certain scenes, obviously I guess a little bit of what's going to happen in the season, but does it ever when you're animating something, you're like, oh, man, this is a bit, I can't does it affect you at all?
Oh,
there's been moments of just this goes with any show. You have a block sort of. They're just you all of a sudden stop at someone and you don't know how to continue. It's oh man, it's for some we call it an artist block when someone's trying to draw but they don't know how to finish it or they just don't have the motivation to it. With animating, sometimes there's some difficulties, some challenges. But what does help a lot is just asking another person, asking a lead, a fellow animator, and they can.
Second opinions.
Second opinions.
It's I'm going for this. Is it working? And they're like, well, actually, you should probably do it more like this. And you're like, right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They probably had the perspective that you just couldn't see or just didn't know about.
Because you're staring at it for hours. So
yeah.
Sometimes you're just
yeah,
oh, shoot.
You bring a couple of fresh eyes in there and they're just oh, this is what's missing. And then you're oh, that's right. Okay. So that usually helps a lot.
And so I asked Emily briefly if you guys have been affected by COVID-19, and you said not really, because as an animator, I'm assuming that you guys can work from home sort of thing. But has it been easier to work from home, or do you enjoy that kind of office setting where you can just hey, can you come over and check something out, or is it easier because you're hey, can I Zoom you real quick? I need you to look at some sort of thing.
I know we've I guess we both have kind of different takes on that one.
Yeah, I miss the studio
yeah.
a lot because I would be the person who'd be like, hey, can you come look at this? To my lead, and he'd just come over and he's like, oh yeah, you just gotta do this, and this. And they still do that through Zoom, but it's a little different.
Yeah, you just gotta message it through the chats. Basically you have to chat with them online to bring them over and then just they'll look through it. Thankfully we have the technology to make that stuff available to us. The fact that we can share screens to each other, show each other how to fix things, through a visual aspect. There's for me personally, there's some aspects I do miss from the office space. Just there's depending on where you work, they can have some really cool like
Yeah,
just
sometimes
nice,
they have like art
nice
books.
yeah,
you
yeah.
can
They
look at.
they give yourself a nice artsy like atmosphere, like a very like animation friendly atmosphere. Um, and you can like meet a lot of new people. Um, through but yeah, no, personally, my experience for working at home has actually been more beneficial to me because I kind of work better when I'm in a more focused headspace where things are a bit more. Uh, I'm sort of like in a tighter area and it's just like my own space that I'm working in. And it's like just like my own creative zone. It's kind of like what I do for my drawing. Now my drawing space has become my workspace, and what I do for work is drawing in general. So I kind of put those two together. But it's also been nice to just kind of like wake up and go straight to your desk. We live really far from every animation studio
Well,
in
they're all
Toronto.
downtown.
They're all downtown, and it would take at least an hour to get. Yeah, like at least an hour and a half to get there, and you lose a lot of time. You lose a lot of energy once you get there, because once you're there, you just kind of have to like recharge a little bit, and then as soon as like the day's over, you still have so much time to get back that there's not enough time to do like a lot of housework.
Oh, trust me, I live in London and I drive to Sarnia every day for work. So I mean, I feel you on that one. It's brutal.
No, I think the best aspect is just time. Like that, we're now given so much more time to take care of
We
like
learned to
other
cook.
things. Yeah, we
During the pandemic.
yeah, we learned to cook together, which has been absolutely like a blast. Learning some new recipes, and just taking care of things in the house. Kept it like it's easy to just manage the house and manage work. Kind of like at the same time because they're very neck and neck. There's no gap in traveling. I love travel. I love going on the subway. I love going downtown. But putting a timestamp on it does add a lot of pressure to it. And it's a lot harder just to like get up that early just so we can have more time to get there at work.
Do you feel like working from home has increased your productivity then? Is that something that would be fair to say?
Personally, yes, it has. I've been putting more. I guess like more like because of the time I have, I put more effort to my shots, giving more of my own flair to it. Because I was on a show in one of our older studios, and I was like, it was in the middle of the show. We had the COVID start, and as soon as I got home, I worked on that one episode, and all of a sudden I started trying out new things and not worrying about like, oh, but I have until 5 to leave, so I won't be able to have time to try that out. So,
now I think you guys have a cool dynamic because you're both animators and you work in the same studio, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so Emily, has there ever been a chance where like George has showed you something and you're like, oh, that's not very good. But how do you break it to him, sort of thing, and like vice versa, sort of thing?
Well, I don't think that happens too much.
But like it's kind of cool because like you're there together in your apartment, and like the only people you have, like if you want instant feedback or critique, it's you guys, right? So like, how has that helped your relationship?
Lots.
big time, absolutely. We're both are like really well versed in animation, but yeah, there's skill sets that I carry and she carry that are very different from each other. So whatever I'm sort of struggling at, I would take her opinion and vice versa. Because like there's going to be some shots in the show where it's going to be like a new challenge, and it's always great to like see from somebody who has done that stuff before many times. So that's usually what I do whenever I ask anybody for help.
Yeah, and usually when you're critiquing, like even our own friends will be like, something's wrong with this shot, tell me. Usually you say it nicely and be like, oh, well, you just forgot to ease in on this part. Like, you just use your 12 principles of animation you use in school terms, and they're like, oh, right, I did forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of things to like remember. Like,
yeah, sometimes you just.
Yeah, and one thing I do have a lot of fun with whenever it comes to critiquing is drawing over stuff. Like I do less explaining and more drawing when it comes to comes to critiquing. So I just draw out like how to push a pose or something. My specialty, like when I take over everything else, is posing over animating and whatnot.
You're a poser.
Poser.
And so like I want to talk a little bit more about Final Space as well, because like to me it's a show that clearly has a destination. Like I know it's going to finish, and I feel like you guys probably know what the finish is, and I don't want any spoilers at all because I want to experience myself, sort of thing. But like I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I remember vividly watching a clip of the Game of Thrones actors realizing what's going to happen in the last season, and then kind of be like, oh, sort of thing. Do you guys get that sort of experience?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
like
pretty much.
we because we do.
And how do you hold it in and not tell your friends?
Oh,
That's the hard part.
it is really hard. What
Yeah,
what does help though is that some of our friends are also on the show as well. So
we just have other people. We just talking.
We just talk within that group about it.
Crew.
Yeah, that's really it.
But you've been talking with fans online on Twitter, but you can't reveal anything.
No, I only talk about like whatever they saw on the latest episode, because it's like, okay, technically the episode's out to the public, so I can now talk about it and share my reaction to it as well.
That's gotta be nerve-wracking talking to fans about a show that why you know that.
I can't do it, but he loves doing it.
That's my first time doing it. And
do you ever slip in like what is it called, a red herring, like something that's totally false, just to throw them off the scent of what's gonna happen? Like, did you know that Ash, I don't know, ends up with Gary in the end, or whatever? Sort of. Like,
actually, no. What's funny is that I'm not sure like we call it red herring, but there's something that ended up becoming a thing. I have just like this one little joke I did. So people were just like, hyping up,
speculating.
So yeah, speculating, hyping up like the next episode, and I would just put in like a smiley face in the comment section, just a smiley face, and then all of a sudden people were like,
what does it mean?
What is that? What does it mean? What is he talking about? Like, and then I'm just like, yeah, that'll be fun to see how that is. And then all of a sudden, everyone else starts doing it. All the other pages.
Even Olin Rogers, the creator.
Oh, like Olin, Ryan too.
Yeah.
Everyone starts doing the smiley face. I'm just like, oh my goodness! I just did like one little thing, and then it just became a chain reaction. So that was actually kind of fun to see.
So
yeah.
So you're throwing red herrings out there, which I love. I think it's great.
We're just saying nothing, but also they think we're saying something.
Yes, it's just like
you should next time you do something, you should just like do an emoji of like a mustache and a monocle and like what was that?
Yeah.
I actually started a new one. Like now, I'm basically just adding the one where it's the purple evil smiley face with devil horns.
So how long have you guys been working? Have you guys been on the show since season 1?
No. Season 3 is our first one. We've been watching the show since season 1, and we became fans of it, and just thinking of the idea of like, oh man, we actually get to work on this. That was insane.
Well, we binge watched it when we got hired because for research.
That's right.
And we were just sitting there watching out like, oh my god, we're on this.
Yeah.
For season 3.
So Emily, you bring up a good point there. Gain to experience as a fan and then gain to experience as a professional. What is that experience like?
Very different. We have to experience the episodes in like a rough stage. So it's kind of, I do miss like watching the episodes for the first time and they're like finished and they have the music and they have the sound effects and it's all pretty. But we don't get that when we're working on it.
Yeah. that's the give and take with it. It's like we get to be part of the production, which is amazing, but also we won't have the experience of like seeing it for the first time.
Watching it as a finished project.
Watching it as a finished project, yeah. So we'll have that's the thing. We have to sacrifice our fan card and kind of use it as like, all right, now we have to see everything in rough, and because it's up to us to finish the show now.
Mm-hmm.
and along with like so many other like animators on top and artists. But it was kind of cool. It was different, experiencing like from the fan side and the creative side. But no, I thought it was kind of interesting. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's almost like you wish that you were just there and like, all right, Men in Black, come with me. Give me a little light thing. I remember everything except for the season, and then you just watch
I
it.
wish I could do that once you're done working on it.
Yeah,
I'd love to experience it with fresh eyes.
Yeah, just like.
And then like how bizarre would it be like you forget all of it, and then they're like, hey, you did this, and it's like, what? How trippy would that be, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, memories are going, so maybe in like 30 years we can rewatch season 3 and completely forget what shots are.
So like, how cool is it to like see the final product? Because like Emily, you said that you have a very rough idea of what's going to happen, but to finally see the final product and see the animation and see the music, I think is very key for Final Space. But to see it all like put together, how cool of an experience is that? And like, have you gotten a chance to watch it with your family and friends and be like, hey, I did this sort of thing?
We've seen some cleaned up cuts.
Yeah,
before it went out.
Yeah, like because we worked on it. Anyone who's worked on it is able to at least see an example of how.
But it was only like the first couple episodes. We haven't seen all of them.
Yeah. So as we're going, like, yeah.
But the music was amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Seeing it with music, oh my god.
Oh yeah, music, comp, effects. Because we do the animation, but there's still so many other like layers that they have to
it looks completely different by the time it's like out.
Yeah, so it's like
a lot of like flares and like some shadows and like drama and
explosions,
lots
of explosion and lightning bolts and stuff. And yeah, then there's like a lot of there's lighting, there's a lot of like moods to it, and yeah, on top the music, which is stellar, absolutely stellar. So it just completes it. So in a way, it kind of does feel like we're experiencing it again, like in a very different way.
In a more intense form.
Yeah. So it still almost feels fresh to us when we do see the final product. So yeah.
I don't know what just happened. My cat just ran through here with the fuck was that? All right, well that happened. Right here.
Okay, don't fall.
Amaka, do you want to say hi to Emily and George while you're here? That's my wife. We're training our cats with.
Aww.
Oh Jesus! All right. Well, animation. Back to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
So, have you guys had like a favorite episode of Final Space that you really enjoy? Like whether it's one that you've worked on or not?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I feel like I have a favorite episode in the second season, but give me a minute.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay. Favorite episode in the first season, I believe was episode 6. Because that's kind of like that was like the big twist. I know it's been out for a while, and just kind of like give like a minor take on it, but it's when Gary and Avocado are like finally out to like save Little Avocado after facing against Lord Commander. That's when the stakes in the show were starting to get really high and really personal, and you start to see like what the show's like really about. We start to see the characters reacting to the situation, and that ended up becoming just the theme for each season going like onwards, and then a big one in season 3. Like season 3 is just nuts. It is.
I haven't watched it yet, so it's
my favorite. Like just from the trailers, like you can see the trailers, and it's just like
I think my favorite episode is from season 1 as well, but it's when Gary goes to mine the sun energy, and the music that has him and Pancake or Mooncake Cake are flying out. It's just like it hits it hits so well, and the animation is so like Gary doesn't want to see his dad just great.
Yeah,
And I think the coolest thing about that show is how like it started off as like very warm, very funny, very like comical, and it has evolved to this point where it's like real television. Like the characters are real. You're so invested in their story, and like there is loss. Gets very heavy at points, but there is levity still there. So like, how do you guys deal with like that as like professionals, like knowing what's happening, but also like I'm losing my train of thought here, but but like being able to see the evolution of the show. Like how cool is it to be part of that?
Oh,
It is an absolute like honor for real. It's like one of the it's just so crazy and just surreal to think about it because so many because I always think of like what projects I'd like to be up that's like the dream project, but I would think to myself, that's too far off. That's kind of thinking too big or just just dreaming about it. But then it would end up actually happening. It gets so surreal at first, and then all of a sudden the next day it's like, oh, it's just another everyday thing. And it's just weird how it got to that, you know. But it's incredible. I feel that it's like very, very fortunate to have been part of it. Especially for a show that again we saw beforehand, we were very aware of. But just haven't actually planned to like, oh yeah, third season, I'll be working on that one. Like, no,
you can't pick.
Yeah,
you don't really get to pick your job that much in animation.
Yeah, no,
it's whatever lines up.
It's whatever lines up, and it's whatever's given to you. So, Emily and I just happened to have gotten, like a call and just said like, hey, would you like to work on this? And just be like, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
So now, having worked on Final Space, it's very much a thing that fans would emulate via cosplay and everything. So,
and fan art.
being cosplayers yourselves, how cool is it to see like, hey, I did that animation. Now someone's wearing it, sort of thing.
Yeah, at a Halloween, we did a Halloween Zoom party, and a bunch of people who worked on Final Space dressed up as the characters.
Yeah,
so it was amazing.
It was so cool. Yeah, we I think I also get something similar when people are doing fan arts of moments like that. So nice. That blows my mind because I'm just like, wait, that's the scene I did, and someone did like a fan art of it. That's so cool. And yeah, it just kind of shows like how it's affected like the fans just in such a really big way, and the fact that we helped contribute to something that they liked and they just felt so strongly for it. It's just like another level of just appreciation. So it's awesome. So
yeah, you don't normally get that when you work in cartoons.
Yeah, no, it's different. Like
you get very little feedback.
Yeah. Because like back then I was like, I wonder what people would think of this show. But I guess I don't know anyone that watched it. But this one is our first like big show. So
where we know people who watched it.
People watch it and there's like a huge following for this show.
What was the show that you mentioned there, Emily?
Oh shoot. I just generally like shows we worked on before this, like they're mostly into preschoolers, so you can't be like walking up to a five-year-old and being like, so what'd you think of Wildcrafts? Did it make you want to draw fan art?
Well, so like I think that's kind of cool because like you mentioned that your favorite movie is the Goofy movie, which is an all-time classic. I will say that. What made you a fan of that movie? Like, do you look at it now from a professional standpoint as an animator? Like, wow, that's really, really good.
Yeah. I follow the director on Twitter because I'm obsessed, and he'll post the odd thing about the production, and I'm just like, oh yeah, humans made that masterpiece. It didn't just will itself into existence, and it changed a lot from what it was like through the process. So
yeah,
every decision they made was like debated about probably for hours.
Yeah, no kidding. Like,
Now, Emily, do you have like a favorite animation that you've made yourself?
Well, that's tough. It's hard to choose. I like some of the animation I worked on in season 3 of Final Space, but I can't say what they are because they aren't available yet.
oh yeah. No, that's
Some action stuff. I could say some action stuff.
yeah. There was an early episode there that you did an action scene. I
Yeah,
remember.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Because I've
So-
never done any action. Well, that many action scenes.
Yeah. It was really cool though.
Yeah.
And George, do you have like a favorite animation that you've done?
Yeah. So like
Villains.
absolutely, yeah. Anything that involves the villains, or just any like action scene, because it's like my 2 favorite things. I love drawing creepy smiles and just like these very cynical, dark characters, and I think
Like making people go, ooh.
That's not foreboding for your marriage at all. I swear, no red flags there at all.
Just
Can't
wanna
wait
make-
to see-
Cute scenes
Can't wait to
and
see what
all
the
the-
theme of your wedding is going to be.
Yeah.
Very villainous.
I just want to make this. So,
So,
but no, doing that stuff because my favorite. It honestly just ties to like my favorite genres. Because I'm a big horror fan. I'm a big action fan. And always 9 times out of 10, my favorite characters in media are the villains because they're always a lot of fun. And I think whenever my brother and I used to like pretend to be characters in like a Disney movie we'd watch, I'd always pretend to be the villain. Like I would always play the villain.
I could totally see you being like an Ursula.
Yes, exactly. So the fact that I get to work on the show and I get to do basically a lot of the villain stuff was just a blast. Like, that was actually like so fun to do, having to take that into a more professional area. But yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the cosplay world because like you did before you guys were together, I'm assuming. And now that you're together, like how do you guys decide what you're going to go as? Like, is it a whole like written down on like a big whiteboard, like, oh, we can't do this, like a whole like you see it seen from a mobster movie, like, oh, this is how we're going to do this way, the blah 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 sort of thing?
Oh, usually we're just casually watching cartoons and I'll just be like, George, I just thought of another cute couple idea.
Yeah.
We should be them.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while he'll say like a character that isn't in a couple, and I'm like, but we can't turn that into a couple cost. Like, what then?
And then I'm just like, unless we ship them.
And do you guys have like a favorite outfit that you've each worn, or a favorite couple's outfit?
I think Concanismo was
Yeah,
the best
we
one.
did Concanismo right before, well, a year before the pandemic. And we had people stopping us on our way to the washroom, or George would be waiting outside for me from the washroom, and they would be like, Kronk, where's Yzma? And he'd be like, she's in the washroom right now. And they're like, we'll wait. And then you'd come out and there'd be like 8 people in a circle waiting to take a picture of you from the washroom. And you're like,
I'm just like, oh hey, got a couple folks that want pictures.
So like, is there a character that you guys haven't done? Because like, so I went as Tuxedo Mask when I was younger.
Oh,
I've done
cool.
Joker. I've done Ash Ketchum, and I made like it's so fun to like create, and all these outfits are like made at home. Like it's so fun to like create these outfits and then go show your hard work at like a Halloween party or an Anime North or a Fan Expo sort of thing. So how cool or how rewarding is it to like be creative professionally and personally, I guess?
yeah.
It's kind of why we're in this to begin with, you know.
Well, the fun thing about
Like-
cosplay and like wearing it into convention is that people will just come up to you and it's like, great job. And you don't get that professionally as much.
Pressure, because when it comes to animation, we're always behind the scenes, you know. It's but it, you know, with cosplay, it is kind of cool to see like your creativity expressed to the public, and they kind of like give you just like a very instant like reaction to it, to your work. So that's all kind of cool.
So like I've been to Anime North once. I was actually wrestling on that show. You know how sometimes they have the wrestling ring. I was wrestling one of those things, and like it was the coolest experience of my of my life because like man, some of the outfits were absolutely astonishing. Like the work that is put into some of those outfits is. And like I was like, Master Roshi, come get a picture with me, or you know, like Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and then like just obscure anime and animation characters are all there, sort of thing. It's if someone's listening to this right now and is like on the fence about going to like an Anime North or a Fan Expo or like some sort of convention where like you're celebrating your nerdism, go. It's so it's so
fun. Oh yeah, it's a
The
blast.
first time I went to a convention, I came back and my parents were like, "How'd you like it?" And I'm like, "We've been to Disney World like 3 times," and I'm like, "It's like Disney World, but like 11 times better." Because instead of just a few people dressed up as your favorite characters, everyone walking around is.
Yep, it's really cool. It's honestly part of the fun, especially with Anime North. Anime North is like a lot of it's outside.
Yeah.
You know, like there's definitely a huge like a lot of stuff inside the building, but also part of the fun is just outside, and it's always.
Are you talking about the rave that happens at night?
We've still never been to the rave.
I think so.
Oh, you've been to it.
Just once. But like my favorites are honestly like between indoors where the dealer's room is, where you get to see all the toys and anime, and then outside where all the cosplayers are at. You get to see like so many people grouped up in cosplay.
Yeah, a lot of them are in costumes that are so big they wouldn't even fit in the building.
Yeah, and so characters that you find that sometimes only you would know about. Like I think my favorite one was finding a friend of a friend of mine who dressed up as Kid Muscle from Ultimate Muscle.
Oh, that's
like that, which was amazing. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe someone still remembers this. That's amazing.
So I had the same thing. It was someone dressed up as a Princess Mononoke. I was like, oh, like that's like one of my favorite animes of all time.
Same. It's my favorite Miyazaki film.
Oh, I just remember like my dad rented it back when you would go to like the convenience store rent movies, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing. Like I don't know how old I was, but I'm like, this is so cool. Like the wolf, like the giant wolf. Yeah. Like, oh my god. Awesome. So like, let's talk about the community of cosplay, because I mean, like, I feel like you go there and you're all dressed up and you just make friends. Like it's so easy to make friends. Like, how many friendships have you made from that experience?
First year animation, or maybe the second year. I'm a little hazy on which year, but it doesn't matter. One of my friends I made at animation school said she had a group of people who she went to Anime North with every year, and I was like, wow, that's really awesome. I have never been because I didn't have very many friends into anime in St. Thomas, so I never went. And she's like, oh, you can come with our group. And I'm like, what? Really? You're cool with that? And she's like, yeah, we need more people to pay for the hotel. And I'm like, okay. And then we did that for 5 years in a row. And every year their friends would invite me back, even though I only ever saw them at the convention for 3 days, and then I wouldn't see them the rest of the year. But like we'd talk on Facebook. And that was amazing. I couldn't believe how nice they were.
Yeah.
And even when my friend like moved to Halifax, they still invited me back. And I was like, really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And we do group cosplays, and we won 2 prizes at the Moonlight Ball for best group cosplay.
What was the outfit?
You had to go by a theme, so each year they pick a theme. So the first one was Space Oddity, and we decided to do Tron. So we had to use light up strips to glow like Tron characters.
Yeah.
And oh my god, the battery pack in my back was like really hot, and I had to change batteries every 2 hours. It was weird. Yeah. I'm never doing lights again. But we won the contest, so it was worth it.
Excellent.
And then the second one was Zelda, or it was like Japanese festival theme. So we took some of the 3 goddess characters from Zelda, and we did Zelda but with kimonos.
Yeah, that's right. No, I remember that. That was the same year I was tabling at the convention for the first time.
Oh yeah, you didn't recognize me because I had a blue wig
Yeah.
So I mean, your wedding's gonna be badass, cool, isn't it? I mean, I don't think you guys are gonna have a traditional wedding at all.
Like if I can try to make it so that we can do costumes for our wedding, that would be cool.
That would be anime North Light.
Our parents would have a fit.
Well, that's where you do a wedding for them, and then you do a wedding for you guys.
That's right.
We kept telling them we want nothing, but well, we mostly want our friends at the wedding, and they're like, but we'll be there too. We want people to talk to you too.
Emily, just for an idea, like have your hair down and then like pull it back and it has like elf ears, and just for that look of your mom, like, oh, fuck's sakes.
Every wedding idea we throw at them, they're just like, really? We're like, yes, we want the Muppet to be, or a Muppet to be the priest that marries us.
Yes.
And they're
Hey,
like,
you know what? My uncle, Uncle Rob, the one that taught you, he's a puppeteer. So
oh really? Oh my god!
I remember being younger. I remember being really young, and he would bring puppets over to my grandparents' place, and he would do the whole show and everything.
You never showed that off to our class.
Oh
my god!
We should give Rob a call on that one actually.
George loves puppets.
I love puppets.
Oh, okay, so
if we get married by a puppet, that would be sure.
So what is your favorite? What is your favorite puppet film?
Oh, mine's Labyrinth, but I haven't shown you Labyrinth yet.
I feel like that's one I'd love to see.
Oh yeah, you love Labyrinth.
Yeah. I love the Muppets movie with
oh, you know your favorite Jim Henson movie.
Oh yeah. the 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because those were also like they were more complex puppets.
But technically Splinter was like a hand puppet.
Oh, he was a hand puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just very well hidden.
Oh yeah, very good hand puppet.
Yeah, so that might actually be like my favorite of all time.
So have you seen Dark Crystal, the Netflix one then, Emily?
Oh, not yet. It's on our list. He hasn't seen any of the Dark Puppet movies, even though he loves puppets. He hasn't seen Dark Crystal.
And he likes villainous stuff. Like
I know.
It sounds like it'd be my thing.
So we just keep putting it off, but I'm gonna show you Dark Crystal. Now we're gonna immediately binge watch the TV show.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, Final Space is wrapped, so I mean, you have time. I'm assuming, anyways.
Oh, Ram.
Oh yes.
There's always the next show. And the next show.
And the next show.
And the next show.
So I think this is about a good time to wrap it up. You guys have Twitter or Instagram? Do you guys want to promote anything?
Oh yeah.
I have Twitter, but I don't use it. But he has Twitter and he does use it.
Yes, I have Twitter. It's username is Furious George. That's Furious dash Furious underscore George. Same with my Instagram. Also goes by Furious George with Furious underscore George with 2 E's at the end.
And Emily, do you have like an Instagram for your cosplay stuff, or?
I haven't even posted any of my cosplay stuff to my Instagram.
Oh,
I'm really sad.
I see it because I'm a friend of yours and I see you on Facebook, but like your costumes are fucking awesome.
Thank you.
It's all because of that cosplay or that group that my friend introduced me to. They go hard. You gotta bring it.
Oh yeah, and I guess there's another page. Like I said, is Death Metal Collector. That is my toy collector page that I've also just done recently.
Dude, you gotta come visit my dad's place.
Oh, absolutely! I'd love to.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is. But yeah, that's the art page and the toy page.
All right, perfect. And like, one final question. So like, when's the wedding? When can we expect this awesome anime North Light sort of thing happening?
Oh man,
we haven't chosen yet.
We haven't chosen yet. But
I think you're probably waiting until the pandemic to be kind of over.
Yeah, so we want to wait till the pandemic just like blows over. Then we can like start planning. And
we only look at like one venue so far because it keeps going back into lockdown. And
it's been tough just to kind of at least like look at places because every time we do, it's like, all right, there's a lockdown. Then lockdown happens again. Like we were just on a streak. We were just looking at places.
Just throw it out there, but like, could you just like animate your wedding?
That would take so long.
That's not a bad idea though.
I mean, that is a good solution to the pandemic issue.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Maybe we'll animate our invites.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
no,
constant gifts being sent out.
but one thing we would like to do with it is to just like make it just add some like fun ideas, like something that's
Make
like
it a little more fun.
yeah, like what would be something that people would normally be afraid to do, like that kind of
You're striking fear in the heart of your mother.
I'm sorry.
Well, like I said, that's why you gotta have like 2 weddings, one for like
Two ways. We'll do like the one wedding that's traditional, and then we'll do the real wedding that's non-traditional.
Well, like for an example, like my wife and I, like my wife's from Chile, so like we had our wedding in Canada and Newfoundland, just kind of like get the visa thing done, right? So we had our wedding, and then we gotta go to Chile still and do like the big religious wedding sort of thing. So we still have a second wedding that we have to do later on, sort of thing. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man, that's nice.
all right, well, George, Emily, thank you so much for joining me on Hello, How Are You Today podcast. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to watching A Pound of Space on Netflix when it comes out and being able to bug you guys about it.
Yeah,
soon.
hopefully soon. Thanks so much. Just like, yeah, keep an eye out. We'll probably announce something.
Yeah, it's almost done airing in the States, so keep your eyes peeled.
That's right.
All right, cool. Well, I will post where people can find you on the Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. Emily, you not so much, but George for sure. I'm Emily. What is your Twitter? I'll put it out there. Just never go.
I'm not even sure. It's Tuff something.
M Tuff something. I think that's a good Twitter handle.
Emily Tuff 8789, and it mostly just has pictures of my trip to Japan and a few Kiki's delivery service drawings from we did it was life drawing, but it was in costume, so she was wearing a Kiki cosplay.
Yeah.
It's really fun to draw cosplayers life drawing.
All right, so one final question for you, Emily, and George. When the pandemic is over, is Japan like one of your go-to destinations? Because that's where my wife and I want to go for a honeymoon sort of thing.
Yes.
I just went, so I feel.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like we could definitely like space it out.
Go again, yeah.
But there's a lot of things that have been added to Japan recently. There's the Nintendo World.
Oh yeah, I keep showing George pictures of Nintendo.
Bro, I so want to go. My wife wants to do like more like the Japanese culture. I'm like Nintendo World and Wrestle Kingdom Wrestling, New Japan Wrestling.
Yeah, I forgot it has a huge wrestling machine, community in Japan.
Oh, that's
It's
awesome.
huge there.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
so here's a fun story. My wife was in Japan, and I was hearing her, and I get a phone call at like, or a text message like, "Hey, I'm in Japan. I'm in a wrestling store. What do you want?" And I'm like, "I'm asleep." I'm like, "What?" And then she FaceTimes me, and I'm like, it's like the background, but it's all like wrestling shirts and figurines, and I'm like, buy me everything. So she got me like 4 or 5 different New Japan shirts, like a nice little bracelet with the Intercontinental. And I'm like, I need to go back, or I need to go there so I can like just spend my life savings, which is none.
Oh yeah, the toys are the big thing for George, and I feel like you would spend so much money on toys in Japan. Oh no.
All right, so we'll wrap it up with this. Last question for you guys. Do you guys have a favorite collectible that you each have?
Oh.
Yes, actually.
We could grab ours.
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
sure, go ahead.
Here we go. Flip.
They are going to get their items right now and show it to us on camera. So for those audio listeners, check out our YouTube if you want. I see do you guys have a dog? Is that a cage behind a dog cage or?
I was gonna get guinea pigs during the pandemic, but then we went back into lockdown. So this is the future guinea pig cage.
Oh.
And I built it myself to save money.
All right, George, what's your favorite? What do you have there?
Okay, so it's a little hard to choose between my children here, but
My children.
two favorites here are. So this one's very recent.
Oh, Spawn, nice.
Yeah, this is a Kickstarter Spawn that was announced last year, and it was made to be like very fan made specific, without any like limitations to how much stuff it can have, how many hands, how many accessories, and so he can like change his heads. He has like these cool little effects. Has a couple of guns and a giant sword, so he's packed. He has a lot of stuff, and some real chains here too, like real leather chains. And last other thing here, which was my favorite toy from last year, is this guy. And he's actually, this is an original character by a company called Mezco, and he's from what's called the Pink Skull Death Brigade, or Pink Skull Chaos Club or something like that. And yeah, he's got like mini Converse, like look at that. He's very posable, but they're also like made of cloth.
Oh wow, cool.
These are actual clothing
Like
on an
real,
action figure.
like jeans.
Yeah, but it's like a regular size action figure, and he's just like, you can kind of move his knees, you can just do anything. So I kind of had him like in a sitting pose like this, sort of like on his back. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. But those are currently my two faves.
And yourself, Emily?
Oh, mine's terrifyingly large, but I collect plushies too much to George's chagrin because they take up too much space. But this is my Wormmon. He's from Digimon. And his head swivels so he can look sassy from the side. And I really love him. He's very soft.
Not like the Spawn here. He's very spiky. If I hug him, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I feel like the image I'm seeing right now perfectly identifies your relationship and your characteristics.
Well, you're the more soft one, like personality wise. But you like hardened things, like spooky things that scare people.
yeah.
And I like soft, cute things.
They're like tough as nails. She acts
You're a
with
big softie.
I am a big softie. Emily here, she acts with an iron will.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll talk to you guys down the road. Thanks for joining me.
No, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was a blast.
I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. Again, you can follow Emily and George on their social medias. I will put those down in the bio for you. As always, you can find me at NeverFullMitchi on Twitter and Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's conversation. I had a blast. I hope they had a blast. And I hope you had a blast. And I'll see you guys next week.